Hi there, welcome back to the Ultimate Off-Road Teardrop Build series. In our previous episodes, we dove into the details of electrical setups and frame designs. Today, it's all about the heart of the teardrop, the cabin. Now before I jump in, I want to let you know that I'll be sharing the complete design files for free in the coming weeks, so stay tuned for that. I didn't manage to capture as much footage during the cabin build, but fear not, I've got plenty of still shots to get us through the process. And let me tell you, it wasn't all smooth sailing. I'll be transparent about the mistakes I made and how I tackled them, because let's face it, we all stumble along the DIY journey, but perseverance is key. Let's start with the basics, dimensions. When it comes to building your own teardrop, precision matters. Width is somewhat dictated by the frame and fenders, while length and height offer a bit of flexibility. In my build, I aligned the cabin with the frame because the tires and fenders are positioned closely against the frame. As for length, I extended it back to accommodate a galley kitchen and added a tom box to the front, effectively extending the main cabin. Height was a bit trickier. I aimed for a height that would slide through a standard 7-foot garage door, factoring ground clearance and rooftop accessories. The total height cannot be more than 82 inches. And let me tell you, calculating that slope for the roof was a journey in itself. But hey, I'm proud to tell you, I cleared the 7-foot garage door with inches to spare. Now let's talk about construction. The floor was a labor of love, starting with a 1/2-inch ply, framed with 2x4s. I strategically aligned those horizontal 2x4s with the frame gussets for added strength. I filled the floor cavity with an 1.5-inch rigid foam boards before sealing it with another layer of 1/2-inch ply. It would be ideal to use a 5x9 plywood for both the floor and the walls. Since I can't find 5x9s locally, I had to make do with a 4x8 and 5x8 plywood. It produced a lot of waste. The side walls posed their own challenges. My original plan had some sharp corners along the wall contour. Sharp corners proved impossible to bend when installing interior and exterior skins, so I had to do a last-minute rounding off all the sharp corners. Lesson learned: avoid sharp corners when building the cabin contour, and also shape those walls identically before installing them. Once they're installed, it is impossible to shape them separately and keep them identical. Well, the Galley Kitchen, where form meets function and mistakes are made. I took a trial and error approach, fitting appliances before cutting boards, only to realize my oversight when the gate won't close properly. Now let's take a look at the Galley Kitchen. This Galley Kitchen probably reviews more mistakes I made as a first-time DIYer. Let's look at some of the measurements. Here, the cutting board length is 21 3/4, and the height of the countertop is 36 inches. I think it's on the higher side, but that's typical of a off-roading camper. Also, the frame dimension is 5x8, so from the front to the end here is 8 feet, but I extended this back end by about 1 foot, so the entire box is probably more like a 5x9, so you can call this 5x8 camper or 5x9 camper. But this extra space will accommodate the Galley Kitchen. The depth of this is 18.5. The design file that I'm about to release does not have the specifics on the Galley Kitchen because everyone has a different situation. You may or may not decide to have a fridge or of this size, and where you're going to put your water bottle, what kind of stove. So the dimension I have, it only applies to me. So before I started on a Galley Kitchen, I already have this 20-year-old stove. And so I bought this water bottle and bought this fridge, and I started to put them in here and trying to build based on the actual physical dimension of these items. I think the first mistakes I made was when I cut the board, I cut it directly against the edge of the frame. Same here. But if you do that, you won't be able to close the gate, because the gate, when it closes, it needs this space to go in here. So as you can see, so I ended up just chip away this side. And also I have to patch this up because I cut too much. So on this side, when I initially designed this, the fridge, I put it here and it's sitting on the bottom. So this height would have worked, but since I added this the slide, this kitchen slide, this is for off-roading, so it will not fall off. So when I add this slide, then this height will not work anymore. So I had to cut a piece of plywood to lift it up. While I'm doing that, I took advantage of the mistake. What I did was I made this removable board. Now I can open the fridge. Either I can slide it out to open the fridge, or I can just open the cover and open the fridge from the top. I can technically reach out from inside the cabin at night and to reach out to the fridge. Like I said before, everything is double, triple locked. This one, so I can lock the stove so it will not slide out when I move. And also here the water bottle, as well as the fridge. So how I made this is I bought this T bracket. I just bend it this way first, and then collapse this. So I made a bracket, and I used it everywhere. One other huge mistake I made, so if you're considering putting a water bottle like this is, I think it's a 7-gallon, I bought from Walmart. So this spigot, when you first purchased it, it was actually inside the bottle. It turned around this way, and you remove it and put it this way. When I was fitting the water bottle, I didn't pull out the spigot this way, so all the dimension is based on the spigot is not here. So when I closed the Galley Kitchen door, the edge of the kitchen door would hit this spigot. It's ½ inch off here, but that's after I completed everything. The bulkhead, the entire kitchen, and the whole 9 yards. Unlike the mistakes here, I don't have a good way to recover. So I did what I had to do. Going up here, and you can see what I did was I notched off like ½ inch on the back edge of this gate. Don't worry about the structure problems, because I have like two 2x4 stacked up together here. I got more than 3.5 inches, so this is not a structure problem. It is still a bummer. I had to do this. On the other hand, it's a hidden, so if I don't tell you, you can't even see it. The important lesson is, if you want to do similar things like stick out the spigot this way, you have to count this distance. I think at the 18.5 depth from here to here is not enough, you may have to push the bulkhead like a ½ inch that way. So on the top of the Galley Kitchen, originally I plan to add a divider here to separate the cabin from the galley, but I have not done that, and I didn't find a need for it, and so far it has worked out just fine for me. There is an actually accidental benefit not blocking this, because after I finish the Galley Kitchen and the cabinets here, I need to replace the panel here, but the door is so small, there's no place I can put this in, except that this backside is still open. So I was able to slide the panel in from here. And so I think I'm going to keep it this way. This is a accidental benefit. Like I said, I can, in the future, if I need to put any large items inside the cabin, I can use this space. I think that covers everything about the Galley Kitchen. I originally planned to have a door here, so it's pass-through door, but I decided not to add the door. So far it works perfectly fine for me without a door. I can reach out and to the back of the Galley Kitchen, even inside the cabin. It is sounded like I made a lot of mistakes with this Galley Kitchen. Do I consider this a failure? Absolutely not, because this is a learn as you go experience. I'm sure on my future DIY journey, I'll make a lot more mistakes. I'm just hoping I'm not making the same mistakes. Let's take a look inside the cabin. There's really not a whole lot to see. It's just a box, sleeping space. I think an important number is the length from that end all the way to here. This happens to be, I think the total length is a 6 and a 5. So you can sleep in a pretty big guy here. The other important number is the cabin height from the bottom to the ceiling. I think it's a 49 and a half. So I think it's decent. And the total width is 55 and a half. I have a full-size mattress here. I think that's enough. I'm camping. I'm not staying in a luxury hotel. It's good enough for 2 people to sleep in. I think I mentioned before, the entire cabin is mostly insulated on the top and on the front. I think it's a 1.5 inch rigid foam board. On the side wall here, that's 1/2 inch rigid foam board. It is a lot of work to do the side insulation, but I think it's worth it. Besides the insulation of temperature and sound, it also has another side benefit, because it gives you a place to hide the wires. So I run the wires along this line and also along that edge. And also when I installed this like a light switch, I was able to use just a thin piece of plywood to do it. If you don't have insulation, then you're gonna have to have a big, like 1.5 inch something block in order to install the switch. Another lesson I learned is this 1/8 birch panel. You can only bend it in one direction, and you should as well, because the other direction you cannot bend it. If you try to bend it, you probably will break it. way I learned this is by going through some huge mistake. What I did was, when I cut the panel originally, I cut it in a wrong direction. I never thought there's really a direction. So when I cut it, I sanded it up and painted it up and tried to install it. I already installed it. I tried it so hard. I bent it over, tried to install it, and I realized it's the wrong direction. So I ended up wasting a lot of material and redid it again in the right direction. So make sure when you cut it in the right direction so you can bend it this way. Another lesson I learned is when installing these panels, what I did is I installed this top panel first. So this top panel goes all the way against the inside edge of the 3/8 board, wall board. Then I cut this panel to fit this contour. That's insane because this is an irregular shape. It's really hard to match it exactly. As you can see, there are gaps here. So if you have to do similar things like doing installation, also adding the interior panel, what you should do is install this panel first, cut it roughly along the edge because you don't need to be perfect. Then you install this panel this way after, so you can hide the imperfection of this side of the panel. And when you cut this side, you don't cut a curve at all. You just cut the top panel along the straight edge. So that can save you a lot of trouble. Well, time is running away from me. Leave a comment, let me know if I'm covering too much in details. And there you have it, the highs and the lows of crafting the ultimate off-road retreat. Mistakes were made, lessons were learned. But in the end, I've got a teardrop that can hit the tough trails. Stay tuned for the next installment where we'll tackle the finishing touches. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll try my best to answer it. Until then, happy building.